Diddly-dum-dum, British Strongman podcast. So the first topic that we're going to talk about today is, building on from last week, so some creative ways how you can kind of acutely help yourself with a little bit of motivation during this phase where you might not have a comp, or it's this during your off season or whatever. And just basically some more fun methods that you can use to get more out of your training during this phase that will get you through to say January, where most people statistically get a new lease of life, whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, or whatever. Like, most people do seem to kind of pick up in terms of motivation and stuff. And it's not just about, in my opinion, it's not just about comps and things like that. It's we had a bit of a chat last week saying how me and you were like very different. Like, it doesn't bother you having a bit of time off, but then someone like me is scared to have time off because I know I'd just like get distracted and go and do something else, whereas you'll always come back to it, kind of thing. So, yeah, what do you think, Shane?
What, some unique methods? You've put me on the spot here, haven't you?
Yeah, well, right. Say I'm client X, and I've said, right, I'm still showing willing, I'm still filling in my feedback or whatever, but I'm struggling with motivation at the minute.
Yeah, well, the thing that I think is that I just think people need. I think as long as you've got a specific goal, then people have, and it's a challenge. Then I think people have motivation. So even if it's like working towards a certain, say you're building volume in your off season or whatever, and you've got all this bullshit skill work to do or whatever, but as long as there's something where there's like a clear end, like say your deadlifts, let's say you're building towards, let's say your 10 rep max is 180 and you're looking to build towards 200 for 10. Maybe you're doing a couple of sets of 10 at 140, 130 to start and kind of building up some linear program or whatever. As long as there's an end goal in sight that they know that they're working towards, I think that the motivation can kind of stay there and they know they're working towards it and they get into their goals. It's going to help next year. If you were just starting them off on sets of 10 and didn't lay out the kind of end goal, then yeah, after 2 weeks, someone's going to be getting low motivation and not enjoying it. So I just think for me really is, and this is the way my brain works, as long as I have a clear cut goal that I'm working towards, yeah, feel motivated. Whereas if I'm just putting in the work for, even though it's going to always work towards long-term goals, it's hard to stay motivated for long-term goals. You need to set short steps, don't you? And as long as I can see that next step in the way and I'm getting close to it, I'm sweet. In terms of unique training methods to kind of stay motivated, that's just, to me, that's just undulating training and not making it as simple as the same thing, adding weight each week and just making sure that, yeah, it's almost not predictable, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that is a fucking absolutely brilliant answer, and that is something that everybody can take from what we've just said. And it's a thing that we've heard all our lives. Goal setting, how important is it? Set out some long-term goals, some medium-term, all that shit. You've heard it so many times, but if you're still listening to this deep into whatever 70 odd episodes in, then for some reason people seem to listen to us. So I challenge people listening to this that, and this isn't just for your training, it could be your nutrition, it could be life, it could be productivity. Like, actually I find it so helpful actually now, whereas I have it in my phone, I use the notes all the time, and I'll just scribble notes down in my phone all the time so I'm not remembering stuff. I find that so helpful. So if you can do that, great. And just jot down, like, where do you want to be in 12 months' time? So off the top of my head, like for me, I'm thinking like say 12 months time, I want to be feeling good, feeling a lot better for Worlds again, and improving on my placing for Worlds. What about 6 months time? Well, I want to be in good shape for the kind of qualifiers. I don't want to have bitten off too much more than I can chew in terms of doing a shitload of comps and stuff like that. I want to be feeling good going into, like, say, qualifiers, whether they be like England's or Britain's or whatnot. And what about like a shorter term 3 month kind of thing? So for me, kind of attacking my weaknesses or stuff that doesn't come as easy to me, like I'm thinking I can get, like, in the next 12 weeks, I can deadlift like 40 plus times, 40 to 50 times, like broken into like little bite-sized chunks that I can add into my sessions on variations that I find challenging. They're all gonna feed into each other. Whereas if I didn't have that kind of mapped out in my head, or for me, sometimes I don't even put in my notes. Sometimes I just need a scrap of. In fact, fucking hell, Shay, look at this, right? No bullshit. This is me. I don't know if you can see, but that scribble on there is basically my. That's the first 3 weeks of the exact numbers that I've been doing from a stiff bar deficit. So I could basically wrote the numbers out so I could do 4 times a week and know that I can recover. So
plan scribble, mate. So every plan starts with a scribble.
Well, that's it. But it's disgusting. It's got like, it's all crinkled. It's got coffee stains on it and stuff. But I've referred to this about 6 or 7 times in the last couple of weeks, and it's just there written down.
I'll tell you guys my bullshit goals. I got some bullshit goals.
Woo!
Because I've got some fun goals as well, but I'll tell you the bullshit ones. I need to improve my rack position because I haven't axle or a straight bar overhead press in so long, because I became a log whore, that I've built this ridiculous rack position. So I'm working on that in the background. Also, my left hand is gammed and has the grip strength of a small child. So I have bought myself Captains of Crush grippers and some other bullshit things. So I'm training my grip a couple of times a week, trying to improve that, which isn't fun. Trust me, it ain't fun getting the trainer Captain of Crush thing that my missus can close. And I'm just barely doing it and trying to improve it. But yeah, but I'm doing that and working on that in the background. And then I've got a little side goal of doing a 260 for 15 deadlift. So I'm building up my, because I've entered a comp in January of deadlift for reps. So it's given me a bit of an excuse to not slack on my rep work on my deadlift, because I do tend to be one of those people that just trains in the 3 to 5 rep range. So I'm building up in quite high volume on my deadlifts at the moment, and that's given me a bit of motivation to do that. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that mid-January is my plan, because I don't actually want to pull it for that many reps in the competition. I want to do that, but I want to do it in training. And what else is front squat? Got a little front squat goal. I want to get my front squat up to around about 260 range. So yeah, I've just got these little goals on each little exercise set, and obviously my weaknesses are the grip and the rack position at the moment. They're not fun to train, but I know if I can get my axle properly racked, that it will help my top end strength massively, because I won't be losing all that force when I dip.
Big time.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, mate. I don't know if you've seen my rack position, but it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I've seen it. So just because you've stimulated thoughts in my head now to help you with those things, like thing what I've done recently with, well, in the last 6 months or so, for people to improve their rack position, I find that bullshit like kind of goals like this, if you try and like do it directly, like I find that it's like harder to stick to, because it's like you know, like say going to do all your lat stretches and your mobilizations and your or like doing half an hour mobility stuff, like I just wouldn't stick to it personally. And I find that a lot of people that I coach are like that. Whereas found what works really well is getting them to do like a sub-maximal kind of front squat routine with a focus on improving rack mobility as the focus rather than just to get stronger with the legs. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, well, for me, I can't even attempt, you know, it's too far away. But I'm not doing the stretching either. I don't really. I used to do that in the past, but it didn't work. The plan I've got is I'm doing behind the neck strict press as one of my exercises, because I can't even gain a full grip, narrow, high bar position. I can't. So my first goal is to get that. So I'm doing behind the neck strict press, and I've started wide, and I'm bringing my arms in every session. Once I can get that, I'm then going to change to a strict press as an assistant, and I'm going to do the eccentric and try and put it in a. Obviously, strict press you don't rack properly, do you? But I'm going to purposely rack it and almost make it like a tricep extension off the shoulder, because the goal is not the weight, it's just getting the rack. So I'm using eccentrics. Then once I'm in that position, I will do the front squats that you're saying, because that's kind of how I found. For me, that's the stretching helps me attain the position for, and then I just reverts back. I have to build strength.
Yeah, you need to get in there and use it, don't you? That's I think the missing thing, what a lot of people kind of miss out, is they open up this position and then they don't spend time in that new position and build, I suppose, strength and volume.
I used to, but I don't even stretch the position now. I just jump in and I'll start my strict presses off behind the neck, and it starts wide. And then by the time I'm 3 sets in, I've got that nice position. And then, the next session I did, because I've only done 2 sessions on it so far. The next session I did, I managed to start a lot narrower, and then, it's just going to go from there, really. So, and it keeps me more motivated as well, because the stretching's fucking boring, but just doing a couple of sets.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. So if you've got like one of the people listening have got a goal like this, if you can pick something like indirect that you don't mind doing, that's going to actually, you can almost bias to help you towards these kind of goals that are often boring to get better at, then it can be really useful. So say, for instance, for me, like on the grip stuff, like I like just doing like, say, if I want to improve my grip a little bit, I like using strapless deadlifts, like for volume work, and I like just doing a lot of farmers and doing more volume than a lot of people would. But
I'm away from the strapless deads because of my hand. I don't know what it is, but I'm completely fine on strapless deads. Like the strong as weird. I don't get it. Completely fine. But then when it comes to like a slightly fatter grip, fucking nothing, mate. It's weird.
Yeah, well, that's another thing for another day. I'm fucking absolutely terrible at I feel like my farmer's grip or whatever is pretty good, and grip endurance is pretty good, and then go to like, say, double overhand axle deadlift, I'm absolutely useless.
Yeah, I've been really reading into grip recently because of trying to fix this hand.
Yeah,
a lot, and it's a little bit more complex than what you think, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to the second part of the podcast episode today. So I think this is a thing that we can regularly do, actually. Because obviously we're thinking of content and things to talk about and things that are relevant and going to give people value. But I actually think going back to discussing like common topics like that our clients ask us, and use it as like a resource like we have done in the past, instead of someone messaged me before about squats and saying that at the bottom of my squat, I feel like my back's rounding to go out of the hole, like what it, like, is it, it's a problem, I want to try and fix it. I'm reading stuff on the internet that's saying it's because of X, Y, and Z. Like, is it a problem? How do we fix it? Why does it happen? And I started writing something on Tree Coach, and then I thought,
this was safety bar, wasn't it? Didn't you say?
Say again, yeah, safety bar, yeah. And then I thought, no, fuck it. Messaged him, and I said, I'll see you on Saturday, and we'll discuss it. Then I'll let you know my opinion. But then I thought, fuck me, we could talk for like 10, 20 minutes on this topic easily. So what's your opinion, Shane, on that? That's all the information you have.
Yeah, so with this safety bar, this isn't as true with, well, it's not true with a straight bar, in my opinion. But I think with a safety bar and applying it to strongman, I think there's two ways to do it. So I think coming out of the hole, and as long as it's not your lower back and you're not in some like crazy fucked up position, if you just get some rounding and you complete the rep and you feel safe, there's no pain, you know, maybe you do your set of 5 and they all look fairly similar, there's some rounding. I think that's perfectly fine, as long as you know that the carryover you're going to get from that is different to if you're coming out of the hole with an upright torso and, you know, you're keeping your knee trapped over your toe. It's very quad dominant and you're in this perfect, you know, squat position, because in strongman, you often get put in that position like Atlas stone pickups, or when you max out your deadlift, you're never going to have that perfect position. So it's going to have more of a carryover to your strongman based events, and it's perfectly fine. But if you're looking to train the safety bar squat for carryover to your back squat, then you want to make sure the position replicates your back squat position. Because often when you round on say you do a high bar back squat, if you round, oftentimes it's going to just fucking spit you out, isn't it? And you're going to be in a bad position that you can't carry through with. With the safety bar, because of the handles and the position of it and the difference in where the weight is, you get a lot easier, basically. So really, as long as you're looking at your safety bar and understand what you're wanting to get out of it, as long as it's meeting those requirements, then I think it's all right. Yeah.
So I suppose context is key, isn't it? So
yeah.
So like he's an example of somebody that's using he's front squatting on a separate day, and he's focusing on upright torso break, like super quad dominant front squat that is carrying over really nicely to his like leg drive. His axle jerks are like, well, really good. He did 148 the other day actually from the blocks at like 93 body weight, pretty good. His dumbbells going good. Got 80 the other day, and you can see that his technique, that basically what he does on his overhead events is he dips, keeps his weight through his legs, nice rack, and drives up through the legs. And actually, his deadlift's going really well as well. What is he? Did he 300 for 2 the other day? And his deadlift when he's at this kind of maximal kind of weight is similar-ish to this kind of this safety bar position. So personally, like I think it's obviously it completely depends what you're going for. If you're going for, well, what I've done is like I've dropped his weights down next week to give him the opportunity to see if he wants to maintain like a kind of position that he's kind of like looked into on the internet, and like basically giving the opportunity to actually choose whether he's rounding or not, if you will. And I don't know where I'm fucking going with it, but
load exposure is the big driver of top end strength. So if you can get an extra, like I've seen some people that they can only fucking stay, let's say they can stay upright with 150 kilo, but then they could do a set of 5 at 180 if they fucking round a bit on the safety bar. So it's fucking pick your goal, pick the outcome you want. If you're peaking your deadlift and you want your safety bar to, be synergistical with that and go alongside it, then fucking mong it up and get heavy on it. You know what I mean? But then if you decide, you know what, I've actually got a real weakness here. There's a big disparity between my upright perfect position and my mong back position. So I'm going to do a phase where I'm going to try and get that closer. Yeah. You can really just pick and choose. So I don't think that anybody should be disheartened with, looking at it and going, oh, it should be upright, it should be. It's just two different things. And you need to just be aware it's two different things. And sometimes you're going to work on one, sometimes you're going to work on the other. And they both have their place. And the only thing I would say is if you do get a big disparity between the two, then it's always good to go, right, I'm going to do a phase where I just stay and build the upright torso position on the safety bar, because that's going to help build your upper back strength isometrically and hold those positions and stuff. So it's still beneficial.
Yeah, right, great stuff. Nice one, Shane. See you next week. But
do you agree with that, though? Do you think that sounds...
Completely, yeah. So yeah, just decide on the goal. So using this guy as a case study, like if we were just basically adding weight, and then he's gone from like an upright torso and he's started monging it just because we're adding weight, and the goal is to get stronger legs, strong upper back, or whatever for help with say for instance, say we're wanting to make his say we're wanting to improve his overhead and make his like kind of deadlift position kind of more kind of PT textbook kind of thing, then
get like straight spine.
Then go with that. But if we're just wanting to, like you say, pick like his overhead events are blowing up, his deadlifts going up consistently, and we're just supporting that, he's got no reason to be he's not interested in powerlifting. He's not going to do powerlifting, so he's not really bothered about it. It's just literally to support his strongman.
I honestly, well, the mong back safety bar, I think's one of the best things to do in strongman, to be honest with you. I think it's class. So yeah, I don't see it. Like I say, it just replicates like sandbag pickup, atlas. No one's got straight back on them things. You know what I mean? So you're just strengthening a position that you're gonna be in semi-regular.
You spend a lot of time in. Say for like, imagine this like a normal comp. Say you're doing like say a log. Say you're doing log press for reps with the log. The log starts on blocks below your knee. You're doing a 15-inch deadlift for reps. You're doing a awkward object carry medley, Husafell, stone, keg. You're doing a heavy ass farmers, and then you're doing atlas stones to finish. Right? You did that. That could be a typical comp. Right? Every single event there, it is so important that you have built resilience and performance within a flex spine position. You cannot, if you got anybody here, right? This is a challenge to anybody listening, right? If you train at a gym where the log stays on the floor, right? Take a video from the side of you getting the log out before you start your session, right? And the goal is keep a straight back, neutral spine. I'll be impressed if anybody can do it. Yeah, because so if same with picking up an atlas stone, say picking up 100 kilo atlas stone, can you keep a perfectly neutral spine doing that? If you can, send me a video. I'll be really impressed. Same with all the awkward objects. Same with the like. So if that is the case and you're all accepting of that, like, are you not doing yourself a disservice as a coach? Are you not doing your clients a disservice if you are not building strength and resilience in that kind of rounded position, and that position, and like basically teaching your body not to shit itself, like I've said before, or whatever. So, well, I'm not saying what to think. The jury's out. People believe what they want to believe. But I think if you're going to take this approach of, like, say, embracing the kind of these mongy positions or whatever, I think a really, really important thing to do is follow a structured program, which obviously sounds obvious. But if your post, like, say someone you've had a new client, Shane, who's like history of back issues or whatever, and you think you want to program them, the really weak in flexion or whatever, and you want to build up their kind of mental strength, and you program something like, say, like stiff leg rounded deadlifts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and you wrote like an 8-week block of that, or an 8-week progression as that as an assistance exercise, which is something that you might do. Like how well, in fact, we're going to go into another fucking episode here, but like, but in terms of percentages, if you worked off a percentage, it would be, you'd start off.
Yeah, start very light. Yeah.
Very light, wouldn't you? And find a load that's completely pain-free. And then
I want them to feel like they've done nothing that first session.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've done it with people like rehabbing back injuries, and put those in, and just added, like, it's been like a mindfuck week one when they're doing these kind of mong back things with 60 kilos for 3 sets of 10, but then they've added like 2.5 kilos a week up to till they're doing 70-80% of the max, and they feel really strong and resilient. But the key thing is like, you've got to build it up slowly. And that's the thing with this guy, as the case study who's asked the question. If you look at his program, it's all kind of, it's incremental progressions each week. And that's why you wouldn't necessarily get somebody starting a squat cycle who you didn't know the history and background of, and get them to squat like that. Do you know what I mean? At that kind of weight and percentage. So if you listen to this episode and just cherry picking stuff, like, we're not advocating that people go and lift with in a mongy position. If you feel it is relevant or whatever, and it could give you value, like, make sure that you're structuring it in a safe and tiny progressions way, like, or get me and Shane to help you, or whoever.
And some people won't even, because I just to reiterate what you said there, I'm not saying that you have to go in these positions. For example, when I safety bar squat and when I deadlift, I stay upright. I mean, I've started rounding my thoracic on my deadlift on purpose since kind of doing some work with Josh actually a little while ago, and I'm still taking that approach now when I'm rebuilding my deadlift. But my safety bar, for me, I can't do it. Like, it just doesn't, my legs, like, other things will fail before my upper back rounds. So I'm not purposely going to put myself in that position, just to, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So it's just what we're trying to say is, if that naturally kind of happens to you and you feel strong and safe and resilient there, then don't think it's an issue. But if you're not going there and you never kind of go in that position, don't think you have to force it there either, because lifting is very individually based, isn't it? So yeah, just kind of one of them.
Yeah, using like an example that most people know who are listening to this, you look at, like, say the way Hicksy squats and the way he's done like 400 safety bar, like, it's just absolutely, I think it's amazing personally. And I think the fact that he's earned the ability to do that over years of incremental, he hasn't just gone one day, right, I'm gonna go and try 400 today from doing 250 or whatever. He's built it up over the years. But I think the fact that he's built that up with the technique that he uses actually will correlate a lot in terms of to like, say, in getting his injury risk on, like, say, deadlifts, for instance, and awkward object pickups, and like heavy farmers or whatever. I don't think like. Do you understand what I mean, Shay?
Yeah. Hicks is a perfect example. That's where the main question I get on this comes from. A lot of people has asked me, is Hicksy squatting right? Like, it doesn't look right. But yeah, it's the same. He's a like quite popular name of someone that regularly does it, isn't he? So, and we've seen it in the flesh, obviously. So, yeah, we've experienced it.
Right, nice one. So, I'll see you next week, bud.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Peace out. Bye.